I'm Annabelle DeMillo. Science and You starts now.
I'm Anne Riddell. Did you know the germs in a sneeze can travel up to 100 miles per hour? Step inside Infection Connection. That's ahead on Science and You.
I'm Donna Hanover. Meet the woman behind the weird science that helps kids who face cancer. That's ahead on Science and You.
Hey, I'm Beth Kovetz. What would happen if I was invisible? Ahead on Science and You.
I'm Gilliam. Bullying. It's led to numerous suicides and damaged a countless number of lives. But why do people bully? And what can be done to stop it? In just a minute, we'll take you inside a program in Harlem where they're trying to answer some of those questions. That's ahead on Science and You.
I'm Barry Mitchell. What exactly is a citizen scientist? We'll find out when we visit Brooklyn's GenSpace Community Biolab. Ahead on Science and You.
I'm Anne Riddell. Welcome to Infection Connection, where kids are battling microbes and learning why diseases come, go, and spread. Take a look.
Can you believe how strong sneeze is?
Yeah.
Get ready. This big blue nose at Liberty Science Center in New Jersey packs quite a wallop, and it may teach you more about a sneeze than you want to know.
I am astounded that a sneeze, there it goes, that a sneeze can launch germs at 100 miles per hour. Is that right?
Yeah, about 100 miles an hour. When someone sneezes, you're in the red zone if you're about 12 feet away.
Oh my gosh, 12 feet?
About 12 feet.
That's
so
crazy.
If you think about every time you sneeze, all the people in the area are kind of in trouble.
And that's an important part of what kids learn here in the exhibition Infection Connection. It's a hands-on lesson in how diseases spread and what we can do to stop them.
What do you think of this place?
It's amazing.
How come?
I mean, it really is something educational. I think everyone should come here. I really like the nose part. It's really funny.
What kind of stuff are you learning about?
Germs. It's nice to know what can happen to your body with infections and stuff like that.
This video game lets kids act as microbes trying to infect a body before being eaten by an immune cell. In this area, students pull on lab coats and glasses, our potential future scientists at work, studying disease through experiments.
How many do we need?
I hope they take away the idea that they could work in a lab. They could. This is more than just a class field trip. It's an eye into their future.
Another highlight, the surgical ward. Today's patient, a banana. Here kids get a sense of what it's like to actually be a doctor.
Science is not in the book. It's in the world. It's in having his nose sneeze on you. It's in looking through a microscope. It's understanding what's going on inside your body as well as outside your body, and you can't do that without the hands-on experience.
A lesson in science and also in social responsibility.
It's all about infectious disease, so about bacteria and viruses, but it's not just about the science that's in there. It talks about society and how we're all responsible for our public health.
The idea here is to help kids understand that a sneeze is not always just a sneeze, and what we do or don't do to keep healthy as individuals can also affect the people around us. I'm Anne Riddell for Science and You.
History has been full of bizarre misconceptions, totally wrong conclusions, and incredibly stupid theories. For example, bloodletting has been popular for thousands of years, and the idea was that to maintain proper balance, you had to remove blood on occasion. That could get disastrous. For example, George Washington, probably the most famous American, in 1799 came down with a throat infection. So his doctors decided to remove a pint of blood. Then they decided to remove another pint, then a few more. And lo and behold, 24 hours later, Washington was dead because it's estimated they removed 9 pints of blood. And as the average adult male has only 14 to 18 pints of blood, they at least removed half of Washington's blood. So here is a case where they're trying to do the right thing, but it was very bad science.
I'm Donna Hanover. Crashing cars and shooting off bottle rockets, these things can teach kids scientific principles, but can these crazy experiments also help kids fight cancer? Christine Taylor, a cancer survivor herself, was pretty sure they could. 5 years ago, drawing on her background as an elementary school teacher, she started teaching weird science after school at the Ronald McDonald House in Manhattan, where families come to live while their children are being treated nearby. This is not your calm, everyone in their seats class. This is a rollicking, exuberant couple of hours where the kids have a smashingly good time.
This is the fabulous Laura, who has been here at the house for quite a while, and she's into science. And these are called jitterbugs, and jitterbugs are actually motorized projects. So it teaches the children, we put together a motor with the batteries and the switch and the whole thing. We put it together, and then they're able to make some kind of cool animals. I try to make it artistic. And Laura, let's battle. We put them, she made this one, I made this one. We put it into the boxing ring, and mine's going, oh no, darling.
As the kids build solar systems that spin, lava lamps that bubble, cars that drag race, roller coasters with loop-de-loops, and volcanoes that erupt, Christine is aiming for wow, I did it moments.
Discovery learning, which is about a process of elimination and formulas and figuring out things, figuring out how a circuit works, figuring out what makes a volcano blow up and how to make a car really go fast.
Christine, she's wild, crazy, and funny, and that's what I like about her. And she's like unique, and she really relates to us because she has cancer too. And she's just like one of the people I can just talk to about how I'm feeling and stuff.
I got cancer 6 years ago. I was diagnosed 6 years ago. Given a year to live, actually. Yeah, and look at me. So I'm a lucky girl. I went through a lot of what I see these children go through. And it's so good for me. Imagine what that does for me, yeah. You know, to be able to say, hey, you know what, I have cancer, and I don't know how long I have, but I'm able to give back. I'm still able to be valuable and make a big difference in these children's lives.
She has some dedicated volunteers that help out.
Hello!
Oh, hello, Dr. Einstein.
That is me!
Oh,
how are you?
I'm wonderful. He's wonderful teaching the kids how to use electricity. Give me a high five, will you?
You got it, you got it.
All right,
This is my assistant, Alex.
Hello.
Today's first project has several of the volunteers helping kids build egg crash cars with decorations that would make NASCAR envious. Then it's time to figure out how to make sure the passenger, a raw egg, doesn't break.
You can use bubble wrap. I've got cotton down there. So you want to protect your egg.
What is it about all these experiments? They whiz, they bang, they blow up. What is it that kids like so much about all that?
You know what? That's what works. And I'll tell you, when I used to have the egg car crash, and I'd always say, oh, we hope the egg didn't break. They want the egg to break. The more whiz bang and the more drama, the happier and more excited they are.
Ronald McDonald House Chief Financial Officer Joseph Guidetti says Christine gives these children something they very much need, a chance to forget their pain and have a great time. Would you say that she actually, in a way, helps them with their cancer?
Very much so. They're in the hospital all day with treatment. They come back here, they're temporary home away from home, and they have fun with Christine and learn at the same time.
I bet the place is rocking and rolling during this.
It is. It's quiet during the day, but about 4:30 in the afternoon, it gets fun and wild and crazy.
Christine has taught hundreds of kids at the house, as the residents call it, including many of the patients' brothers and sisters.
And the siblings are very much affected because their parents are so devastated, and it's taken over their whole lives. I mean, they've moved from all over the world. The whole family goes to the hospital.
So, weird science at Ronald McDonald House is for all the kids in the family.
It allows them to be children again, to be joyous and to learn and to discover and be excited and not think about there's cancer in our home.
Wes Oxford's son Nate, who's staying at the house during his treatment, loves weird science, and so do his big brothers Luke and Jake.
They look forward to it every Tuesday and Thursday. They do it whenever if Nate has to stay at the hospital late, they actually get bummed out because they're like, we want to go back and do the weird science. They just love it.
What, as a dad, do you think of Christine and the weird science?
Oh, I think it's so neat. It gives them something to get their mind away from what's going on with a cancer treatment, and just gives them a chance to come here and have fun and mess around and get messy and have fun doing it. And I just think it's a wonderful thing that they do here.
One of the most eagerly anticipated experiments involves building a rocket. The kids start with plastic bottles that they decorate and then add a cone at the top.
Okay, let me see. Hold up your rocket if you're ready. 1, 2, 3, 4.
And then we all troop outside to see what happens when the plastic bottles, partially filled with water, are plugged with a cork and then get extra air pressure from some serious pumping.
We've got a rocket here, right? We've got a cone on the head, so it's aerodynamic. We've got water. We've got water in there. And what is this going to put in? When we go like that, do you know? Air, exactly right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh! Good job, Nate! Woo!
Sometimes they just jump up and down with excitement, and that's beautiful.
Even after more than 4 years here at Ronald McDonald House, Christine plans to keep on coming up with experiments that can best be described as a blast. Turns out weird science is not such a weird way to keep these kids learning and laughing. I'm Donna Hanover for Science and You.
Today we understand that dental caries or cavities are caused by bacteria producing acid which eat through the teeth. But for many hundreds and thousands of years, people believed something else was chewing your teeth, worms. They actually believed there was something called a tooth worm that would chew through your enamel, make a little home inside of your tooth. And it wasn't until the worm started wriggling around that would produce that throbbing pain. So they had all kinds of spells and incantations and all different magic potions that they would try to use. They would burn various herbs and use the smoke to get into the mouth to try to drive the tooth worm out. This went on for many, many generations, and it wasn't until bacteria was discovered in the late 1800s and their role in the production of cavities that this millennia-old practice of bad science was finally reversed.
Bullying. It's a national problem that's now the focus of federal, state, and local governments. It's affected countless numbers of young people. But here in Harlem, in one program, they're taking the problem head on. Students at the Heath Academy have their eyes set on college and are driven to excel. But they share another common goal. They want to help stop bullying, bad behavior that has affected them all.
When I was in elementary school, I was bullied. First by this one girl and then by a boy. It got to the point where I didn't really want to go to school.
When you're the victim, what's it like to go to school every day?
Unpredictable, because you know what's going to happen. But when you walk through that door, you don't know what's going to happen, really. You know that there's going to be some pain, but you don't know how you're going to feel it or how bad it's going to be.
So you worry?
Yeah.
The extreme cases are well documented. The Cyberbullying Research Center says cyberbullying is the cause of 19,000 suicide attempts a year. But who becomes a bully and why? Does medical science hold the key to stopping the behavior? Tamara Buckley, a psychology professor at CUNY's Hunter College, says behavioral scientists are making some progress in determining who the bullies are.
The characteristics tend to be people who tend to externalize, impulsive people who want to get their way, people who actually have low academic performance and have difficulty problem solving. So those are some of the characteristics of bullies.
Buckley says there's another common thread.
Families that tend to resolve problems through conflict by being physically aggressive in the home tend to produce, or more likely to produce, bullies.
When you talk to the victims, the potential damage from bullying becomes clear.
The girl, she used to push me sometimes, but it was mainly verbally. She threatened me. The boy, he would do this, he would just make fun of me. Like, he called me short, make fun of me because I had glasses, make fun of me because I had large teeth, so.
Did it bother you?
It did, because a lot of it was true. And
Do you have glasses? Big
yeah.
Deal. Big deal, come on. Marie Verdi says she was picked on a lot in elementary school.
I was bullied by one of the girls, and I had to deal with her for a while, but until she got transferred.
Do you think that schools do enough to stop bullying?
Not really, because it's kind of that once, even though the kids, they don't really, it's like they give the kid attention or two, but it's not really that much. They should probably do more, because if they don't really take this so seriously, someone's really going to get hurt.
What should I do? I'm concerned my child is being bullied. What should I do?
Mm-hmm. Well, the first thing I think is that you should take it very seriously. It's a serious set of behaviors that can lead to really negative outcomes for the person who's being victimized. I think that you should try to create a space within the home for the child to talk to either you or someone in the home. It's important to reach out to school personnel to make sure that they are monitoring the situation both at school as well as at home.
Buckley says parents should also consider counseling for someone who's being victimized, because all too often they feel somewhat responsible for what's happening to them. HEAF creates a safe space where kids can talk.
What I'm teaching and what we're discussing in class, I realize goes a lot further than the students and kind of what we're doing in the moment. And so I realize that the students are involved in different types of bullying. Right now, I think the cyberbullying has become a really big thing.
It's a very large problem. It's just gotten more and more important, because now that we have all this technology, iPods, computers, cell phones, you now have the power to remain anonymous online and say whatever you want to people, and they don't know that it's coming from you.
In fact, the National Crime Prevention Council claims cyberbullying affects almost half of American teens. The problem is so prevalent that the White House teamed up with Facebook in March to take on the problem. In the meantime,
Prevention, trying to keep something from happening, is the root, rather than intervening once something already has happened.
And a message to those who would bully.
They wouldn't like it if someone teased them or, beat them up and, push them around daily. So you just have to think about how that would affect you and what it's doing to other people.
So bullying remains a problem, but it is being tackled on a number of fronts, including government, schools, and medical science. I'm Mike Gilliam for Science and You.
In the 1700s, Dr. Franz Mesmer, from whom we get the term mesmerized, used to put people in a trance-like state by using what he called animal magnetism. And he used very large barrels that he called baquettes that he would put these people in and go around and touch them with iron rods that he had allegedly magnetized. And in his way of thinking, this magnetic fluid that flowed through all of us would cause disease if there were blockages. So he was attempting to remove those blockages. He made a lot of money. He was very popular in some of the royal courts, until scientists in 1784, such as Ben Franklin, examined his devices and found no magnetism, no animal anything, nothing, and he was disgraced. You would have hoped such quack devices would be gone, but today you can still buy magic little magnetic bracelets to wear for your arthritis. There are still electrical zapping devices such as this one, which was in the early 1900s. It was called the electric mechanical heart. And believe me, this kicks like a mule. And it was believed that electricity and magnetism could just cure anything. So as it was before, it is today. It's all just bad science.
Hi, I'm Beth Kovetz for Science and You. Any fourth grader who's read Harry Potter knows all about the Invisibility Cloak. But do you think those same fourth graders can understand the science behind making that cloak a reality? Let's find out.
So today we're going to try and understand how the invisibility cloak really works and how one could actually build one if we had all the resources available to us. So let's ask the question, what makes something visible?
Yes.
So the way you make something visible is you have your bulb, you turn on the bulb, light comes out, you have your friend standing inside the dark room, that's your friend, it hits the person, it comes out, that's you who's standing here, and you see the person, yes?
Yes.
What's light doing here? It's reflecting, yes?
Yes.
So the light is reflecting off the person. So if light reflects off a person, then you know that, or an object, then the object becomes visible, yes?
Yes. Yes.
One way you can make an object not visible is if light does not reflect off it. So you want to prevent the object from reflecting. The next question I'm going to have is, I'm going to have one of you wear the hood. And now I'm going to ask the question, so you want to wear this on? So now I'm going to ask the class, what do we need to make him invisible? What do we need to make him invisible? We know we can't use reflection, we can't use absorbing. So what should we do to make him invisible so that if I stand here, I can see what is behind him? To make this person invisible, what you need is the light to go around the person, right? And then if it goes, then I do not see the person. So what really this invisibility cloak has to do is, you wear the cloak around you. So this is my cloak, right? And I send light, and the light has to bend around the object when it comes here, and that makes this object invisible. What if we had the technology between all of us to make an invisibility cloak, and I'm telling you that we can go back today and make one, why would you want to make one? Because anytime we want to do something, we want to know why we want to do it. Yes?
Well, I don't really need it, but the only thing that I need it for when I'm playing hide and go seek or something.
Okay, that's a good reason. Yes?
If you wanted to do something secret and no one knows about it or something.
So let's recap what we did today.
Light travels at 300 million meters per second.
Excellent.
The light shines and it reflects, and then you can see the other things.
The reflection.
Yeah.
Good.
To be invisible, the light has to go around you.
Thank you, Dr. Menon! This has been Beth Kovetz for Science and You.
I'm Barry Mitchell. GenSpace in Brooklyn is New York City's only grassroots community biolab, a sophisticated research facility open to the general public. And you don't have to be a trained scientist to participate. Do you know why the mushroom was invited to a lot of parties?
Why?
Because he's a fungi. That's right, mushrooms. They're not just for pizza anymore. These Brooklyn Tech students are using the GenSpace lab to conduct research for the Urban Barcode Project, a citywide science competition in which participants collect local plants and insects and sequence the genetic information.
DNA barcoding is a way of identifying a species just by its DNA. And so the DNA has a unique spot on it, just like a barcode in a supermarket, that will tell you what organism it was.
What will you be barcoding today?
Button mushrooms, which is one of the most common fungi. These fungi perform a process called micromediation, which...
Whoa, what's that word, Matthew? Mycoremediation, where fungi filter out pollutants in soil and water. Extracting and comparing DNA enables us to identify other mushrooms that might perform the same cleansing function.
GenSpace provides a unique opportunity for students in New York City. I think it will prove to be an invaluable experience for the students that participate in the research.
It's going to give me experience with the equipment and technology and everything that they use in the field now.
And you said you do want to go into the sciences.
Yeah, I want to be a marine biologist.
And since 2010, this funky old bank building on Flatbush Avenue has been home to scientific activity for all kinds of people.
Good science is fun. We definitely need a
a playground, if you will, where science could be carried out in a nurturing environment, and that's what GenSpace offers.
Dr. Oliver Medvedik and Dr. Ellen Jorgensen are molecular biologists and co-founders of nonprofit GenSpace.
One of the main missions of GenSpace is education, educational outreach. We have space for people to carry out their individual projects. We also offer a number of educational courses. It's much like a gym membership with more supervision.
Members pay $100 a month, and there's something for every citizen scientist.
A citizen scientist is anyone that's interested enough in science to actually get involved hands-on. It can range from anything to someone who reports what birds go to the bird feeder in their backyard so we can track migration patterns of birds, to the people who come here and actually investigate their own genome and their own DNA.
And how about someone who plans to barcode all the plants and wildlife of the Alaskan tundra this summer?
Alaska is near and dear to my heart. I bought property there in 2008, and some friends of mine and I went up there and built a log cabin. There are lots of different organisms in Alaska that have not yet been DNA barcoded. It's very important to catalog all the organisms in order to be able to use this information in different studies. And this is an area where citizen science can really contribute big time, because it's a big job and we need everybody to help. There's a lot of different questions that might be answered. Are certain species changing their habitats? Or are they changing what they eat? Are they changing their behavior because of global warming? Are species becoming extinct? But you have to have this baseline of having barcoded everything first.
If you'd like to know more about GenSpace and their various workshops and programs, go to
www.genspace.org.
And you're watching Science and You.
That's our show. I'm Ernabelle DeMillo. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Science and You.